hedge clipper in Edward Scissorhands. Now he's doing another slightly offbeat role in his latest film, Benny and June, due for national release September 30th. Have a look at this. Would you please welcome from our London studios the remarkable talents of Mr. Johnny Depp. Johnny, it really is a great pleasure to welcome you, and I must say you're looking particularly humble there.
Was I? Oh, thanks. I felt humble.
Johnny, you'd be the only person I've ever interviewed who's sold grandfather clocks.
Yeah. Actually, we gave them away, the grandfather clocks.
Things were that bad?
Yeah, what it was I sold ink pens over the telephone, and in order to sell like 200 to 300 ink pens, you'd have to promise to give them a grandfather clock, or like a trip to Greece or something. It was really a horrible scam I was involved in. Well, you know, I was just an employee, but...
And they made money out of giving away trips to Greece with pens?
No, no one ever got the trip to Greece. No one ever got that. The only thing they got was like a grandfather clock, but it was made out of, you know that man-made wood, which it's almost a little more than cork. It's slightly better.
Well, the only reason I asked, Johnny, is because I bought some of those pens and I still haven't had the trip to Greece, so I'm waiting.
Really? I gotta go now. I'll talk to you sometime. Take care.
Yeah. Johnny, the days of 21 Jump Street are well behind you now. Do you ever have any regrets about doing that series?
No, I don't regret. I don't regret that show at all. The only thing, you know, what was a problem for me with the show is it was, you know, we were into areas that I didn't necessarily think we should have been in, you know, and I thought at times they got a little sensationalistic and a little exploitive with certain words and, you know, certain sort of racist slurs here and there that I didn't agree with, and I didn't think they dealt with them properly. I mean, if you're gonna do something like that, you got to really dive in. You know, you got to really deal with it.
Johnny, give us an issue that they dealt with. Give us an example.
Well, if you're gonna put the word, for instance, like if there's a show, one episode in particular was about a girl, a black girl who had been what everyone assumed was raped and stuff, and what they did was they wrote the word. Well, it's an awful word, you know, it's an awful word. They wrote it on the wall, and they never really dealt with it, you know. And I thought, I thought that they...
so they actually traded on it? I
thought they were irresponsible, you know.
They traded on it more than addressing it?
Exactly. It just didn't, to me, it just didn't balance out. They didn't find the right way to deal with it. And I thought the whole idea of the show was kind of a slightly borderline sort of fascist thing. Cops in school, you know.
Is that one of the reasons that you've opted...
I don't think it should be up to the police.
Is that one of the reasons you've opted from doing more conventional roles, and what's happened there?
Just my CIA earpiece flew out for a second.
Yeah, you're just trying to get away. I will be claiming that trip to Greece, Johnny. Now, I was saying, is that one of the reasons why you've opted out of doing these beefcake, you know, heartthrob type roles and gone into these off-centre, more troubled roles such as Edward Scissorhands or more recently Benny and June?
Well, you know, when I was on the series, it was you'd have to do scripts that you didn't necessarily agree with, and because it was you'd get them the day before you had to shoot them, so you didn't really have any creative freedom or any creative choices and stuff. So I at that point said. Whatever films I do, I'm just going to do the ones I want.
Before we get into Benny and June, tell us about Edward Scissorhands. That was a very off-centre role. Did you deliberately say, now I'm going to pick a role like this to throw people, to push myself, to extend myself? Was that conscious?
Well, it was something that it was something that out of a lot of scripts that I'd read. It was something that just sort of grabbed a hold of me. It was something I responded to in a huge way. I remember reading that script in my hotel room in Vancouver, like just started crying, you know, like a little kid, like, you know, reading this script. It was so good and so kind of honest. It was something I was desperate to do. I really wanted to do that movie. And at the time, you know, I think they had offered it to Tom Cruise or something, so I thought there was no way for me to get it, but it just sort of worked out. No, Edward was something I had to do.
Just on the Edward Scissorhands thing, and this is more of an aside, with all that makeup and those big scissor hands, this is sort of personal. How did you go to the toilet on the set?
Well, I got very close with a lot of people very quickly.
Great pair of scissors, that's all I can say. You'd have to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
Johnny, let's talk about Benny and June. For those people who haven't seen it in Australia, could you very briefly describe the story for us?
It's real hard to describe the story. It's a story about people, three people who are all very different. One is sort of mentally ill. The other is her brother, kind of takes care of her a little too much, and this guy that they meet, they win this guy in a poker game, who sort of comes in and they learn a lot from each other. I'm real bad at synopsis of movies, but
no, that's good. That was good. I'd buy some pens on the strength of that description.
Yeah, would you? Cool.
And your role in this film is very Chaplin-esque, a very Keaton-esque performance. What did you do personally to prepare for that performance?
I watched tons of Buster Keaton. I watched a lot of Chaplin, but mostly Keaton. And then I had to figure out if I could. There's some stuff I wanted to do, like some flips and things like that, kind of Keaton-esque stunts or whatever. So I had to find out if I could actually do those things.
You just seem to be doing a lot more on the comedy side of things. What makes you laugh personally?
I laugh when people fall sometimes, you know, when they fall down.
Yes, very simple humor.
Yeah, I laugh when people panic. I mean, I had a friend of mine one time, we were eating lunch, and he was eating a club sandwich or something. Suddenly he started making this weird noise, you know. And the next thing I know, he's choking. He's flopping around violently, and he's got some turkey hung in his throat. It floored me. I couldn't stop laughing. He was dying, and I was like cackling. It was awful.
That's funny, but remind me never to have lunch with you, Johnny. I think viewers will be interested to know this, that you are in fact a chain smoker.
Yeah.
How many packets a day are we talking here, Johnny?
About 3.
3 packets? I mean, why not just put the packet in your mouth and light that? I mean, that's a lot of...
Actually, I'm thinking about having another mouth grafted on to the side of my face so I can smoke more.
Johnny, I'm going to ask you this. Tattoos.
Yes.
3 tattoos. Yes. Betty Sue, for whom?
Betty Sue's my mom.
Yeah, an Indian, for what?
The Indian was the first tattoo I ever got. I was about 17, 18. Just having to do with part of my heritage. There goes that large insect. And
you've got Winona Forever. I presume that's Winona Ryder. Is that one still there?
Good guess. No. It's no longer there. We've split up.
You had the tattoo taken off?
No, of course not. I think these things to me, these tattoos, for me are a journal, you know, and as opposed to writing it on a piece of paper, I just took the initiative and put it on skin, so I wear my journal. But even though we're not together anymore, it doesn't take away the honesty of the moment of when I got the tattoo, and it doesn't...
So, I mean, you don't look in the mirror and feel any regrets about having got it in the light of your current situation?
Not. I don't regret the tattoo at all. In fact, I mean, it's a part of my past. You know, it's part of my history, and I would definitely keep it. I mean, I could add things to it. I could subtract. I could make it wino forever, for instance. You never know.
Johnny, we've got to say goodbye. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. Benny and June, it's a delightful, quirky movie. If you could describe it in one sentence, if you could urge people in one sentence to go and see this movie, what would you say to them?
I would say, go see it. The dinosaurs in it are done incredibly well. Computerized animation. Aidan Quinn is...
Yeah, and that whole tap dancing sequence with the singing in the rain stuff, magic. I just got to tell you that.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
John, it's been a real pleasure, and I hope to see you again very, very soon.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Would you thank...
Bye.
Johnny Depp.
Secret Service.
Johnny Depp, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more after this.
Of your sick sister. A heart flush is a perfectly respectable hand.
Not respectable enough.
Hey, shut up, Mike.
I am not taking this guy home. You have to, man. Remember the bet I lost last year? When I had to replate your socket set, I didn't back out, did I?
You can't bet a human being.
Oh, well, if you're gonna be a baby about it. All right, Mike. You want to play like that? I'll take him. I may not be responsible for what I'm gonna do to him, but I'll take him.
Well, this is the next project that Johnny Depp chose after his extraordinary and touching appearance as Edward Scissorhands. He plays neither Benny nor June in this film. His character is Sam, a gentle eccentric who believes he's the reincarnation of Buster Keaton, with touches of Chaplin and Fred Astaire thrown in as the story progresses. Benny and June are brother and sister. He's a mechanic with a good business heart who takes his responsibility for his mentally ill sister seriously, maybe too seriously. In a poker game played for ridiculous stakes, June loses, and the price is taking Sam into their household. For June, this means the discovery of a soulmate.
You don't like raisins?
Not really.
Why?
They used to be fat and juicy. And now they're twisted. Like they had their life stolen. Well, they taste sweet, but really they're just humiliated grapes. I can't say I'm a big supporter of the Raisin Council.
Did you see those raisins on TV? The ones that sing and dance and stuff?
They scare me.
Yeah, me too.
It's sick. The commercial people, they make them sing and dance so people will eat them.
It's a shame about raisins.
Well, this is a heartwarming film that somehow fails to ignite. It's as if the filmmakers and performers have been so afraid to exploit any aspect of the film that they've pared it back almost to a non-event. Every performance is so minimalistic, so restrained that you almost have to bend forward to become involved. Johnny Depp is winsome. Mary Stuart Masterson is to be admired. Aidan Quinn, where are you? Speak up, for goodness sake. The director, Jeremiah Chechik, known mainly for his award-winning commercials, was apparently the obvious choice for this film, and he must shoulder most of the blame for the film's lack of impact. Benny and June is nice, but at the end, you're far too aware of the whimper. David.
I didn't think it was all that nice. Yes, I mean, it's a film that left me completely cold. It's just so unbelievable. I mean, this whole premise, this ridiculous gambling game in the beginning. I mean, right from that, it's just utterly ridiculous. Look, it seems to me that this is just a showcase for a couple of good performances.
Well, it's strange that, you know, this is the one he chose.
Yes, but I think he fancies himself as Buster Keaton, and let's face it, he isn't.
Scores for this one, then?
Well, I'll give it 2.
Well, I'll give it 2 as well. Benny and June opens nationally tomorrow.
We'll leave you with some more romantic antics from Benny and June. Good night.
Good night.